This is a drawer in which I kept miscellaneous records also, and I'm going to try and go through it with you to give you some more characteristic of what's in it. For some reason, I don't know, we have a picture of L. Walt Rising here, who's a member of the faculty of University of Washington. We have various clippings. We have a 1993 schedule of classes. I think I said that as I got things, I dumped them in drawers, and I pretty much did that. The University of California, San Francisco School of Pharmacy Alumni Directory, 1986. This is part of a packet that we put together, the 100 Years School of Pharmacy, University of California, that we put together for our centennial celebration in 1973. I have tons of those packets left. That whole corner over there, Polina, that's all these packets that were passed out. They had souvenir stock certificates in it. Something here entitled Bob Gooderman. He was a graduate of our school who turned this over to me basically about 20 years ago. In it are a series of letters, from a Nina, I forget her last name, one of our graduates who served in the Navy in World War II as a pharmacist in San Diego. The significance is she was sort of like I keep track of what our graduates are doing, and she graduated in the class of 1942, and about 80% of that class males went into the service. And so she talks about who they are, where they are, and you'll find mention of people who are in the service overseas, people who are on destroyers, people who were in the Navy, Air Force, or American Army Air Force and crashed and were out of she will talk about her classmates and what they're doing. So it's historically interesting because it's the only glimpse I have of what went on in World War II. This was the class of 1942. There is something here, UCSF, San Francisco, 125 years. I don't even remember what's in it. These are items from our 1972, I said it was 73 celebration. That's the packet I was talking about. There are pictures in it of the speaker. There are pictures in here of the speakers at that event. Actually a program of what was going to be happening. School of Pharmacy Centennial Celebration, that just evidently spoke. More of this, the School of Pharmacy Centennial Celebration pictures. Incidentally, to sort of tell the story in it, they had a tape recorder present and a little room set aside for pharmacists to drop off memories of what they had, what had happened to them, what they had done, and memories from the school, and and that's covered over about 6 or 7 audio tapes. That would make an excellent source of information of what it was to be a student here, because they were all memories of pranks they played on professors, of parties they went to, of things they recall. 1990 Phi Delta Chi, pharmaceutical Phi Delta Chi, the fraternity. Governor Ronald Reagan's 100-year congratulations. It's a congratulations for our 100-year, 1972, it was our 100-year celebration from Governor, it's a proclamation from Governor Ronald Reagan. The reason I won't open it up basically, and there's also a Mayor Alioto's, Joseph Alioto, congratulations. Of note is the fact that Reagan didn't even know what the hell he was congratulating us for. I do not like Ronald Reagan. He noted that he says clinical pharmacology is the program here. 100 years of clinical pharmacology. Good old wide awake Ronald Reagan. Postcards. Various alumni reunions and distinguished alumnus awards are in here. So we have notes from the various alumni awards, probably pictures in there as well from our alumni reunions between 1972 and 1977 and 1985. I just have some old stuff in here that I just collected. This has nothing to do with us. It's a publication called Modern Pharmacy, dated 1940. Miscellaneous pictures taken at our various health fairs. Our students did various health fairs, and these are pictures taken at them. Some commencement announcements, current ones, programs. This is, I don't even know what this is. It's a picture, I think. So join me as we together find out what it's about. It's a picture of a gathering of the 36th Annual Alumni Reunion of Phi Delta Chi Fraternity, one of our pharmaceutical fraternities, and it's dated 1935, February 18th, 1935, and there's some kind of an accompanying note here. or some kind of Herbert. It was basically donated by Herbert Bergstrom, a graduate probably from that era. A box full of slides, and I'll have to tell you, these are probably from school picnics. Some of them could be of disease states and so on. I don't even know for a fact what is in that collection. This is our 1989 campus UCSF earthquake report. Talks about the damage to the structures. This is not isolated to the School of Pharmacy. This is the entire facility. I'm certain that the library may already have a copy of this, but in case they don't, here is one. Damage to this particular office. I wasn't here at the time. I was around the corner. I lost about a third of my collection because the earthquake shook all the bottles you saw up here down. I had heavy equipment stacked high, which I no longer do anymore. I put heavy equipment down at the bottom. That when the bottles fell, the heavy equipment came down and broke some bottles going back actually to the 18th century, which greatly grieved me. So we have the earthquake fire. An alumnus wrote a short drugstore stories, which are not terribly interesting, but he gave it to me, and there it is. I've kept U.S. World News and Reports, most of them that talk about were number one. This one is, I don't know what year this is, 1993. I think that was the first time we were reported in the survey as the number one school of pharmacy in the nation. There is another publication that does that. I will turn that over to you as well, called Educational Report. That's an academic publication that lists us as number one. I just kept this because it basically features one of our faculty, Tak Kuntz, and this is just an issue of our Founders Day commemorative issue that was distributed in 1982. I think that was our first Founders Day. I played a significant role in that I was in charge of the pharmacy exhibits and the pharmacy portion of the program. And I will tell you that's one of the first battles I had over the history of the profession of pharmacy, because the original people wanted to dedicate it. The original administrative officers out of the Chancellor's office wanted to dedicate Founders Day to the founders of the School of Medicine who gave birth to this campus. And I basically went to the acting dean then, Gene Jorgensen, said, I don't want to have anything to do with that. I think the School of Pharmacy should pull out because it's not true. It's not accurate. The founders of this campus are the founders of the individual schools who created the schools. And this campus wasn't one school of medicine alone. But anyway, that's a longer story. More documents, more legal documents having to do, signed by Millar, one of our earlier, it's more legal documents, bylaws of the school, 1930. Outside of it says California College of Pharmacy, so it's more of those documents having to do with our early years. 1930 perhaps is not an early year. The senior class of 1956, shot outside of one of our buildings. Videotape entitled ANCP History Interview by Eddie Leong Wei. I don't think this relates to pharmacy, but it relates to Eddie Leong Wei, who is, as I said, one of our emeritus professors from the School of Medicine, a graduate of the school in 1939. He was our second graduate of our PhD program. And I think it probably is tied with one other guy. Okay, this one is entitled Jerry E. Goyen, Dean, 1967 and 1992, Death Notices, etc. So when he died, the earth shook because he was a massive leader in the profession of pharmacy, although at that time he had been retired and been away from it for a few years, maybe 10 years. He was still vastly admired, vastly remembered. So in here are such things as a videotape of his memorial. I don't know whether this is the one we prepared or it came from the whether it came from us or it came from the mortuary that did him, but we have it may have been a videotape, plus all sorts of documents relating to the ceremony, relating to his death, etc. Dean Goyen, as I told you earlier, was a very important figure in the development of the clinical pharmacy program, certainly one of the most progressive deans we've had. Here's more on Jerry E. Goyen, some pictures of him. I have a complete copy of his speeches that he delivered. He was an important man. He delivered probably 70 or 80 speeches around the world. He was called upon to address the world because he had been FDA commissioner. He was leader of the best school of pharmacy in the world, and he was called upon to give his opinion on a wide variety of topics. And I will at some point remember to turn over to the library a PDF copy of the speeches that he delivered. California Corporation and of the Board of Trustees report of the, this is dated 1928 or 1929, just more California College of Pharmacy stuff, and all sorts of incorporation stuff, California Department of State, having to do, I think, with the corporation. We have some more ancient documents. Transfer of the California College of Pharmacy to the University of California in 1934. Articles of Incorporation, Constitution and Bylaws of the California College, agreement with the faculty in regard to salary and affiliation of the University of California, with the University of California in 1873. So there's a lot of miscellaneous documents in it relating to our corporate status, our relationship to the University of California. This is something I mentioned earlier. We used to have the original, but we returned the original to the California Pharmaceutical Society. This is their original Constitution and Bylaws. It was drawn up here. It was drawn up by the same men that founded our school, and you will find their names on the signatory pages. These people got it right. The California State Assembly, in our 100th year celebration, sent us a congratulation on 100 years of pharmaceutical education. There are several copies of that here, but it's basically an assembly resolution saying, good job guys for 100 years. And they didn't call us clinical pharmacology. Okay, that completes that I can think about the documents. So now we're going to move into the audio videotape area. And let me begin with just this miscellaneous box of audio tapes. Now, I mentioned earlier that when we had our 100th year celebration, we had a booth set up where people could go in and share memories. And we had people from all the classes going back to probably the 20s in that 100th celebration. And they went into the room and they told us about their memories. So you'll see them find them on tapes like this, or there's a big reel-to-reel tape in here also. They may be on that as well. I used to listen to these, but I got tired of it, not because they were boring, but because frankly it was taking too much time. And I had collected some interesting stories. That's my printer. Oh. There is, however, let's see, and this is, yes. There is, however, I would think a historical, very interesting tape, historical as far as the campus is concerned. And this is a tape made by Adelaide Waihe Strange. Now let me tell you who Adelaide Waihe Strange is. Otto Waihe is the person who donated this globe here. Or not really, he did. His grandson, Roger Strange, donated that globe, but Waihe originally owned it, and I'll tell you more about that when I get to equipment. We have the diploma for Otto Waihe here somewhere. It's in fact, I think, that thing there in that nice frame. We have his diploma of graduation from the University of California there as well. He's a man who he's a graduate of the school, class of 1898, I think. He joined the faculty for a short period of time, but collected some of our memorabilia. He also, when we moved from the 113 Fulton Street building to here, he bought the clock that hung in the hall that people saw when they came to school every day. It's just an old, plain old railroad type clock. He bought it for $1 and kept it for many years, gave it to his grandson, Roger Strange, who graduated in 1952, and gave it then back to us, and it's now hanging down in room 926, I think, just directly down the hall. It's hanging on the wall there. That's a clock that originally hung in the School of Pharmacy building on 113 Fulton. The reason I tell you all that is because there's a degree of separation between those people and the person that spoke on this audio tape. Adelaide Waihe Strange is the young woman who married Roger Strange's father. She was the daughter of Otto Waihe. She is the person who, I will later on, put the water in that container in 1910 or 1911. I'll describe that later. But more importantly, her mother knew Ishi and told her stories of Ishi. And as I recall it, on this audio tape, she describes meeting Ishi, the last of the Yaqui Indians, was it? Who lived on campus, as many of you are aware, in the late 1800s and early 1900s, maybe late 1800s. She actually befriended Ishi, and I think this tape describes some of those interactions of Adelaide Waihe Strange, that is Roger Strange's mother, or of what her mother, Mrs. Collins, told her. Now, Mrs. Collins was the janitor for this California College of Pharmacy when we were on the Hill here. She may have been the janitor for the building downtown, but I know for a fact she was here, and that's the connection. It's a very strange connection. She was the grandmother. She was a different name, but the grandmother of Adelaide Waihe, insofar as I've been able to recall from Roger, and so on. But the connection there is we have this important audio tape. I think it's, I don't remember what's on it. I have seen a transcript of it. I don't know where it is. I think it may even appear in one of the Pharmacy Alumni Association newsletters. But any historian who's interested in Ishii would definitely want to listen to this. So this is basically then tapes from the reunion, tapes from we have a Pharmacy Alumni Association alumni panel in 1967, just miscellaneous things, and miscellaneous, a picture or two, which I will hold up because he was one of our distinguished alumni. He received the award, and his name is Joseph Bettini, class of 1928. He was a former executive director of the Board of Pharmacy, chief executive director, CEO of the Board of Pharmacy, California State Board of Pharmacy, an alumnus of our school, and one hell of a guy. Died about 10 years ago, maybe 15. I don't even know why I have this, but somebody bought it for $1 at a garage sale. You can see the price mark, and it's Clyde Anthony Look, who received the BS degree from us in 1947. And somehow his degree came up on a garage sale, and somebody bought it and gave it to me. This is an 1800 some odd University of California degree to, his last name is Klinkner. His grandson, I think he was a graduate of this school, but I'm not 100% certain. I for a fact do know he graduated from the University of California. I don't know whether it was pharmacy or what here, but he was a pharmacist, Klinkner, and I don't remember his first name. I think it was Fred Klinkner. His grandson was also a graduate of our school, who donated some of the Klinkner show globes, the little glass globes, the big glass globes that hung in the Klinkner Pharmacy in Albany, and we will see those later when I go through the equipment. William Searby, we've mentioned many times. This is a plaque that was created when he died. It was the junior of the marble mausoleum stone that we described at the beginning of this presentation, and this hung in the School of Pharmacy halls for many, many years, and was made maybe a year after he died. I've always kind of liked it, even though it is kind of crude, but it's obviously based upon a picture of him later on in life. We have another picture, and we'll see it quite at an earlier stage in his life.